Hi everyone, Rusty Dog here. Welcome quickly back to Assetto Corsa Competitzione. In the last stream we had a career race, where I actually ended up winning the race, but then was disqualified and I couldn't figure out why. So after a little bit of research and a little bit of common sense, I figured out why it was. Now it should be known that my foray into the world of longer races, I don't have a big history of it. In Assetto Corsa I tend to do short races that don't really require pit stops. So I didn't really have keybind set up and things like that properly, but I recently I've set those up, but that wasn't the reason. So it comes down to meeting the criteria of the pit stops basically. And it turned out that what I believed was true seemingly isn't. So let's just jump in and we're going to go into the setups. This is the car we were using. It's a different color here, but it doesn't matter, it's the same car. And the setup that we were using was called Good for Wobbly, which it's a wobbly was the word I was using to describe how the car felt on the track, with the rear end wanting to swap around and spin the car every corner, and this was a setup that was good for that wobbly car. So we load this up. Now this is where it went wrong. In the setup, in the strategy, there are two pit stops, and I had it set up wrong. I thought this meant how many pit stops are there going to be in the race, so I set it to 2. And then I said add 46 litres of fuel, and this is where I went wrong, because the idea for me here was on both pit stops 1 and 2 to add 46 litres every time. But that's not what this is saying. This is the strategy per pit stop. So here is the problem, is that this is what happens to the car on pit stop number 1. And as you can see, fuel to add is 0. And I think it's mandatory to add fuel, even if it's only a litre. In fact, it is mandatory, as I'll show you in a minute. So the way we should have had this set up was to have had 46 here, using the current tyre pressures, and it doesn't mention, oh well, we've got tyre set here, but I don't think that matters here. I think we can change the tyre set on the pit stop board during the race. So at the first pit stop, do this. At the second pit stop, do this. So at the second pit stop, I could put in less fuel. So I could put 46 litres in on the first and 44 in on the second. Depends how you want to arrange your stints. And because we didn't refuel on the first pit stop, that's why we got the disqualification. So I think what I'm pissed off about there is that when we exited the pits after our first pit stop and didn't refuel, it should have disqualified me at that point, rather than having me finish the race without realizing, because there was no fixing it. The moment I left the pits, having not refueled, well, that's it. There's no way to fix that. And so, yeah, that was an issue. Okay, so now I'm going to resave this out. Now that it is a correct strategy. Too late to rerun the race now anyway, it's done. But if we go into the race, because you will see on the live stream that the moment we started the race, it was showing on the pit board invalid, and I couldn't work out why. And now, using some common sense, I've sort of figured it out. So let's jump into a race and we'll see what's going on. Okay, so I hope I've got everything set up correctly. So as you can see here, we've got 3 drivers, and I don't know why it says 30, 30, 30, because I've said that the driver stint time before they have to change driver is 20 minutes. That's how I've set it up in the race. And obviously this makes an hour and a half, and it's only a 1 hour race. But anyway, let's go into setup, and let's load our good for wobbly setup in. We know we've got the pit stop sorted out, and this is how we're going to run it. We're going to put 46 liters of fuel in each stop. Okay. Now, let's see what happens at the beginning. Well, this is different to the career mode. All drivers must run at least one stint. I wonder if that's because I have the settings set up differently. Let me just run in, because the pit board is completely different here. I may have to jump into career mode to maybe show you this. So instead of using driver stint limit, we're just going to put pit stop window. Pit window length, let's put it 20 minutes. And we do need driver swaps as well, though. Let's see what it comes up with now. I'm not too interested in loading in the setup, to be honest, because... Right, mandatory pit stops 1. I don't know why it's sorted that out. In the career, you have to do it twice. But there are requirements. Pitting rules. There has to be a driver swap. There has to be refueling. There has to be a tyre change. And the pit stop has to be done within the pit window. And this was the problem. You see here we've got invalid. That's because we don't have refueling set up in the pits. We don't have driver swap set up. And the pit window hasn't happened yet. So, if we come down to fuel to add, I don't know why I'm having to put this in, because it's already stated in the setup. Unless it didn't load the setup and I had to do it again. But 46, and now you see that's gone green, and the driver swap. Now we're going to change driver on the next pit stop. So we've met those 3 requirements now, and as soon as the pit window is open, that invalid word should disappear. What I don't understand though is why it didn't have the refueling at the beginning. Let me just check this out. So we're going to setup. We're going to load good for wobbly, which we know has got the strategy correct. So that shouldn't be invalid here. Ah, there we go. Now it's right. You see? So all we have to do is select the next driver on the next pit stop, and now we can get rid of that screen. And then as soon as the pit window opens, well, we should be good to go. Once the pit window opens, which I think is shortly after the race, then we can pit legally without getting a DQ. So I'm just going to race until the pit window opens, and then we'll see if that invalid goes away. I'm not bothered about racing for positions or any such thing. But I think the pit window opens on the opening lap. And I notice it's only chosen one stop, despite that we have 3 drivers. So we should get a notification. There you go, pit lane is open. But we're not. Oh yeah, pit lane is open is different to being inside the pit window. I think the pit window maybe doesn't open for a while because we need to run the driver for at least 20 minutes and then it'll open maybe. I don't know. But if the pit lane is open and I need to pit for, say, to repair some damage or a puncture, I still have to meet the requirements, right? Do I still have to take on fuel? Do I still need to do a driver swap? Even if it's a out of sequence pit stop. Alright, well, let's just push. And when we get to the pit window, I'll let you know. I'll be back then. Okay, so the pit window is now open, and as you can see, it's now valid. So now we can pit, and it's not going to complain. Where I think we pitted in this live stream, I know we did, under invalid conditions, and that's why we were disqualified. So there you have it. I've worked my way up to 4th. And I don't think I'm going to be doing much more of this. It'd be nice to see if I could win. But yeah, that's what it is. All the requirements, where it says actually requirements on the board there, have to be met, have to be green, before you can have a valid pit stop. My question would be is, if you need to make an extra pit stop because you have a puncture or something, how does that work? Do I still have to do a driver swap? Do I still have to refuel? And what if it's not within the pit window, but I need to pit anyway because my car's damaged? Anyway, there you go. That's why we got disqualified, even though I ran a great race in the last stream. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.